War. War never changes. Video games do. Microtransactions are commonplace, and $100 subscriptions for broken games are now a thing. But war never changes.
Take me home to the place I belong, West Virginia, Mountain Mama.
Oh, I've heard about this. You're one of the game's glitches. Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Dan Draws. I am your host, Todd Howard. Now, I know it might look like I'm not a Fallout 76 fan with an intro like that, but I actually love the game. In fact, here we are in front of my in-game home. Pop by, have a cup of tea and sit a while. I just hate the predatory tactics. You wouldn't catch me doing anything like that at all. Not in a million years. Now, on with the video. Now, in the previous video, I said with this one, we would be looking at redesigning more of my childhood characters. This time, we'd be looking at redesigning the judges. So, let's check. Oh, jeez, god damn it. Right, okay. Right, we can't do that this time, then. I have to find a way around that. We need something on the fly. A character I've done in a video already. Okay, let's... Hellboy. We'll go with Hellboy. And something new. Something I haven't done before. Kirby. Okay, we'll go with the Kirby. Let's put these two together and see what we can come up with. Okay, let's roll the video. And here we have a standard A4 canvas. Nothing special about this one, just a standard canvas. I think it's set 400 DPI, if that matters to you. Now, when you're doing something like this, obviously I'm taking two different franchises or characters and trying to make something new of it. So I've taken a Kirby and I've taken Hellboy. And when you do something like this, you have to sort of decide, maybe not always, but a lot of the time you have to decide which is going to ape off the other one. So do you go for more in the Hellboy style with Kirby elements, or more in the Kirby style with Hellboy elements? As you can see, I've gone for the Kirby style with Hellboy elements, which, so as a mashup goes, I mean, if you think about it, if it was the other way round, the Kirby would be some hulking monstrosity, really. And so for this, I've gone for the cutesy side, but with a Hellboy theme. Now, I'm not sure if this has been done before. Probably, you see a lot of these mashups, but I thought I'd do my take on it. Particularly considering I actually watched the new Hellboy movie last night, and oh, wow. I mean, I don't want to say it's the worst movie ever made, but crikey, that film doesn't know what it wants to be. Can't make up whether or not it wants to be like some R-rated, super violent, Deadpool aping nonsense, or just a dreadful, really badly comedic kids film. It's just such a nightmare. Anyway, as you can see with the nose, I've gone for a sort of upside down pentagram because I noticed that Kirby's nose are hearts, and I figured to keep it in with the Hellboy theme. And I've given him obviously the beard, the sort of tied back hair, obviously the horns down, and I was trying to figure out the best way to do it so it was kind of Kirby-ish but sinister. A bit of a mignola, however you pronounce it, sort of feel to it. And I was thinking about doing something because obviously I've done the cutesy nose, the upside down pentagram, and I was thinking about the BPRD logo on the shoulder. I was trying to think of something different to do for the right hand of doom, and then I thought, nah, don't mess with the classic. And now you can see her on the chest. I was thinking about the Kirby's logos, and I didn't want to lose the logo because that's essentially part of the Kirby's main power. But I was thinking, how would it apply to Hellboy? I figured, obviously, there's the crown that appears in flames between Hellboy's horns when they all grown out and everything. I thought that would work pretty cool. Again, if you're watching this video, then I can tell you now that this video is better than the new Hellboy movie. And that's not me blowing my own trumpet, that's just how bad the new Hellboy movie is. It's not anywhere near a patch on the Del Toro Perlman movies. It's just a dreadful mess. Anyway, you can see here I've started inking. Again, we're on a time lapse here. I could have done this quicker, but I was taking my time with it. You know, had this been a thing where I was drawing with other people and joking about, then maybe I'd have done it in real time. But as I was on my own, I figured I'd just take my time with it and have a bit of fun and so I've time-lapsed this. You don't have to sit through the entire process, because that would probably be quite boring. Here you can see the inking. I mean, if you've seen a few of my videos, you know the way I ink now. I do the pencils, I ink over the top of it, then I give it a thick border. But for this one, obviously, I wanted to get a bit of the Hellboy comic feel to it. So you can see where I've started planning out sort of thicker shadows than, you know, because I'm not really a heavy shadow inker. Like, I'm not much of an inker, to be honest, when it comes to stuff. I'm really, really basic, simple, and tend to do a lot of the stuff with colours or anything like that. I don't really do a lot of heavy inks. But when it comes to doing Hellboy, you know, you've got to really, if you want to get that classic comic feel from it, you have to use the bold colours and the blacks and stuff. In fact, with this, I probably did more shading than you'd normally see in a Hellboy comic, because it's just the flat colours and the black inks and stuff. But I was quite happy with how this turned out in the end. As you can see, it's coming around here, and this was a tricky bit, you know, what do you leave, what do you colour in and stuff. Especially, as you said, like, you still want it to look like a K-Bay, you know, you don't want to get too far away from that. But at the same time, you want it to look like Hellboy, so you've got to find that nice balance. And it's quite fun, really. More fun than the new Hellboy movie, to do something like this. I've seen other videos where people have done mashups on things like this. I've seen Stitch mashed up with Master Chief. That was quite cool. And again, that was a case of the artist in that video had to choose between whether you do Master Chief with Stitch elements or Stitch with Master Chief elements, and they went for Stitch with Master Chief elements because cutesy, or I guess, is just generally, I don't know if I'd say it's easier to do, but it's more appealing. You know, people like that cutesy feel to stuff, the cutesy play on things. Used to chibi figures of things sell really well. And oh, here I am. I'm just using a couple of different brushes now. For this, I used a what was it? It's a special effect tool, but it was like diagonal lines, so you can crisscross your stuff yourself. And I was using a different hairpin brush for some of the details on the right hand of Doom and on the horns and things. And I've just flat coloured on one layer here for the solid red, and then put another layer on top for the jacket colours and the nose and other bits and bobs and stuff. So basically the red is all on its own layer, and then the rest of the colour is done over a couple of different layers. And as you can see, I was going with white there, and I thought it was too bold. It stands out too much. I know that's the K-base for you, but like, because again of the Hellboy sort of vibe to this, I figured it had to be toned down a bit. So I was playing around with the colours here. Like you can see, I've done the standard yellow eyes, but then this bit here, where it's a sort of off red, pinky sort of nose area, and that to me didn't look right. And then I started doing the light grey here, put the blue in. So that's like instead of the BPRD logo, I've went with the K-base cloud to cloud thing. Didn't put the full colours in because that would have taken too long. And I went with a sort of a greyish colour then for the area on the nose, which I went for on the chest as well and in the ears. So there's that tie in there where the colours balance out throughout the picture. And then I decided that if you see a solid black like that, that's because I didn't close off my channels properly, and I ended up paint bucketing the entire image. But you can see here I'm putting in a bit more depth. Now to me it looked a bit too flat, and I wanted it to have a bit more depth to it. Maybe it's just the way my artwork works. It doesn't really work unless there's a bit more depth to it, maybe. I don't know. You guys can tell me what you think of that. But I had the shadows there for that there. And then it came in with highlights. And rather than doing solid pen for the highlights like I did with the shadows, I used the airbrush tool to spray it on and maybe blend it in a little bit. And I thought it was quite cool the way it turned out. It was alright. And when I came to finishing him, I mean, right here, he's pretty much close to being finished. There's a bit of touching up and stuff. I thought to myself, it needed, I was doing a bit of cross-hatching on it to add a bit of depth to the shadows and stuff, actually, around the chin area and on the legs and stuff, and a bit of texture, and you can see going on here. But as it came to this being finished, I mean, this was very much nearly done. I thought, well, I could end it there. That would be the end of the video. But then I thought it looks a bit bland, you know, just him stood there on his own. You see here I'm putting in colour into the collar and stuff as well to separate from the base colour of the coat, because that was at the last minute. I remembered that the collar and the buttons are a darker, sort of more grey tint with Hellboy's actual clothing. And so I added that last minute there, and then that's when I decided to add the shot on the under the feet, and this is when I realised it looks too much like he's standing in space. So I did a bit of smoke on the cigar, which had I think it was a hard light or a soft light layer for the colour on the cigar, so that you could see transparently through. No, I ended up leaving it as normal, but turning the opacity down to about 50%, so it, you know, it wouldn't have a right Hellboy, as I started calling him. But I figured he looked too much like he's standing in space, so for Hellbeer then I give him like a typical sort of comic cover thing where normally he stood on like a pile of skulls or something, but I just give it like a cliff face with a small path leading to it, did a couple of rocks in the background, and then using colour I sort of filled in a distant background and did a sort of like a light, so you can imagine almost maybe it is Hellbeer in hell, but the lighting isn't accurate, so I did it just so it looks nice. So the background has got like this sort of sunrise or sunset in the distance, but that doesn't bear any reflection on how the light is actually hitting the bear. It's just there because I thought it looked cool. And then I had a bit of darkness around the sides. Essentially then this is pretty much it done. I put a little signature on it, had a bit of shadow, but that's Hellbeer. So it's the first of my mashup of 2 characters. Hopefully you'll like it. If you have any ideas for other ones I should do, then please leave a comment down below. Maybe I can look at taking 2 random comments and mashing those characters together, seeing what I come up with and seeing if that works. But yeah, otherwise I think we can pretty much call this one done, and that's it. And there we are, guys. Hellbeer and the Right Paw of Doom completed and finished for you. Now, maybe in the next video we can look at doing the judge redesigns that I talked about at the start of the video, if I can get past this blasted paywall. Otherwise, maybe we can come up with something else like this. I'd like to give a shout out to my patrons. I have a Patreon. You can find the link below. I'd like to give a shout out to all of them for their constant support, and I'd specifically like to give a shout out to Brandon and Callum for giving me ideas for this video. In the end, I went with 2 of Brandon's suggestions, but Callum did give me quite a good list as well. Yeah, I'll be taking any suggestions for character mashups and future video ideas as well, if you've got any interest in shooting them at me. Otherwise, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. These videos do take me quite a long time to make, this one particularly because I went and did a stupid amount of background work for the Fallout intro that you don't even really see in the actual video. But yeah, if you give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Otherwise, I shall see you in the next video. Thanks very much, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.